Gates open at 7 and no bull, you guys. It's going to be a great time. That's where officials say they were called for a welfare check just after 11:30 last night. Now police say once they got here, they found 2 men dead inside the building. As for the explosion site, cleanup began on July 2nd. However, a judge then put a restraining order on the site on July 3rd. Take a look at this. Folks already have their tents and seats lining the way. I actually spoke to this group of folks right here behind me. They say this is their 39th year setting up in this exact spot. As we were driving down the road, my photographer and I, we saw some people looking over the bridge. They were talking to an officer, so we decided to pull over and ask him what was going on. Soldiers go through training like this all of the time, and as a reporter, I decided I need to try it out for myself, and clearly, I'm struggling quite a bit. After an hour recess, the Senate started debating in their chamber. The topic, abortion coverage. And joining me now to talk about that rodeo is rodeo announcer Charlie Throckmorton. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to have you here.
Can't y'all just hear that voice? Isn't it no surprise what he does, right? Tell me how long you've been doing this. Take a look at this. This is the Republican Party still hanging around. And if we look over here where the Democrats were sitting earlier tonight, it appears that this may be an indication of the official results to come. And as you can see by the caution tape that's still up behind me, the police presence has continued throughout the night. Hawaiian Falls here in Waco is one of hundreds participating across 20 different countries. They gave me this map to put it all into perspective. They say that this checkered area all through here is concrete. Pulling through the drive-through, trying to get that coffee or even that hot chocolate, which I suggest for this morning. And this is your first year in a few years to participate in this. How excited are you guys?
I'm very excited.
Private Elvis Presley served his required 2 years of active duty here at Fort Hood in 1958. Reporting live at Fort Hood, Hunter Davis, thank you. Thank you very much. During our interview here at the Clay Studio, that some of the gnomes were hiding across the street, which only leads me to believe that some of those gnomes are here at Salado College Park. So, happy hunting. The clinic instructor put glow germ gel on their hands, and then the lights went off, the black light came on, and the germs came out. And I'm going to stay out here, listen to David sing, so I'm going to throw this back to you in the studio.
For the first time, a mother speaks out after she released video of her son being tackled and then attacked during a football game against a Central Texas high school 2 weeks ago. On September 13th, University High's freshman team played at Burleson. During a kickoff, you see number 76 block and then choke and slam an opponent's head into the ground. That player's mother says she spoke out because the player who hit her son was back on the field a week later. Our Hunter Davis spoke with Jennifer Gower, the mom. And Hunter, the university player missed the rest of that initial game and the first half of the next game as punishment. Lindsay, that's the main reason Jennifer Gower decided to speak out. She says after learning that the player who injured her son was back on the field the very next week. Gower says originally she wanted to give the school an opportunity to handle this situation in-house, but she's not happy with the outcome. And now her goal is to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else.
Game day, the day every athlete looks forward to. But this day was a different story.
He targeted him, he sat on him. He choked him.
This video of the vicious attack shows what Jennifer Gower is describing. Her son, Jagger, pinned down by a University high school player, choked and slammed into the ground repeatedly. It's one of 3 attacks.
I never, in my mind, did I think like that was gonna just keep happening, and it did, and it happened so fast. And when I saw him sit on top of my son, I think I was in shock, I was upset. It was more like it just wasn't really happening, although it was.
It's a game that left her son with a concussion, sidelining him for at least 3 games. The player responsible for the injury already back playing. UIL policy states a football player ejected from a game misses the rest of that game in which they were ejected, plus the first half of the following game. Waco ISD Athletic Director Johnny Tusa says that punishment is enough.
You're dealing with teenagers, and things, emotions, and things happen from time to time, and it's how you come out of these things, and we're satisfied with the outcome with this young man.
But Gower says there needs to be more action because as of now, she isn't comfortable with her son stepping back on the field.
And the reason is because what happened was allowed and not taken care of. So I don't feel comfortable.
Following the game, Burleson ISD released a statement saying in part, The BHS athletic coordinator and the BISD athletic director both protested the incident with Waco ISD officials. Waco ISD assured our administrators that it would address this matter appropriately.
According to the Waco ISD athletic director, as of now, there will be no further punishment for the university player involved in the incident. Reporting live in Killeen, Hunter Davis, Central Texas News Now.
Hunter, thank you. According to a spokesperson from the UIL, there is a state executive committee that can step in to address the situation if needed. However, as of today, there was nothing on the committee's schedule about the incident, though the UIL is aware of what happened. One woman is speaking only to Central Texas News Now after her father went missing from a retirement home in Killeen. Our Hunter Davis joins us now live from the facility. And Hunter, the woman's father was put in the home after suffering a stroke.
Lindsay, Joanna Larson says that's what made this situation even scarier. Because her father suffered the stroke, he's disoriented and can't communicate very well, which is why his disappearance caused immediate panic.
64-year-old Rodney Larson was put in the Rosewood retirement community for rehabilitation after having a stroke. His daughter, Joanna Larson, went to visit him daily. But on October 10, just 5 days after being transferred to the retirement community from Metroplex Hospital, her daily visit didn't go as planned and instead became a nightmare.
I went in his room. He wasn't in his room. I went to speak with the nurse practitioner in charge. None of the staff were aware that he was missing.
Sending the staff, Larson and her fiance into a panic.
The whole facility is scrambling inside and outside of the nursing home.
After searching the entire facility, they were told by a staff member.
He got on the hop and went to the Walmart up here in Harker Heights and got off at the Walmart.
Something that the Hill Country Transit District confirms in a statement never happened. Both the Killeen and Harker Heights Police Department were notified of the missing person and began to search.
Through this process, it may have taken about 45 minutes to an hour, but after they were able to track his phone, police were able to find him.
According to the Killeen Police Department, after receiving a call about a missing person just before 5 p.m., the missing person was safely found in the area of Veterans Memorial Boulevard and 2nd Street, roughly 6 miles and across the interstate from the retirement community.
When I found my father, he was badly sunburned. They failed his family. They failed me. They failed him especially.
We did reach out to the retirement community for comment. They referred us to their corporate office, who says while they can't comment on this patient specifically because of privacy rules, they can confirm that they do have protocols in place for situations like this. They also say that they take situations like this one very seriously. Reporting live in Killeen, Hunter Davis, Central Texas News Now.
These soldiers go through training like this all of the time, and as a reporter, I decided I need to try it out for myself, and clearly I'm struggling quite a bit. But not these soldiers, they're prepared.
I'm glad I did it, and yeah, I had a good time doing it.
While this isn't what I would describe as a good time,
come on, reporter, get out of here.
It is a necessary time for medics at Fort Hood.
We went through a simulated trauma lane with a lot of extra fixings.
In those fixings, finding out what it's really like to help someone in a war zone. Something the instructor of the course, Staff Sergeant Christopher Wader, says is one of the most important things they do.
We do that because combat, nothing's quiet in combat. When there's a combat casualty, there's still an active firefight going on. We try to simulate that here as best we can.
Which is why soldiers are patching up wounds while listening to this.
It just made you really you really had to focus on what you were doing.
Which was caring for
double amputees, airways, burn casualties.
Something Staff Sergeant Waiters had to handle himself while under fire.
I pulled 2 service members out of a tank and then recovered a deceased service member as well under enemy ambush.
Which is when he was shot in the shoulder and had to treat himself.
Didn't realize anything was going on until about an hour later when I was actively bleeding from it and started burning when the adrenaline wears off.
A moment he says he will never forget, and one that he keeps in mind as he trains his current medics.
To get ready for combat, we have to train here. So we do train hard on a daily basis to get ready for combat, to try to bring as many home as we can.
On Fort Hood, Hunter Davis, Central Texas News Now.
A military couple wants justice after their home renovation went terribly wrong. The Benavides family spoke only to Central Texas News Now, and our Hunter Davis has their story.
Arlene Benavides has been in the United States Army for 8 years and was stationed at Fort Hood back in December. She and her spouse Jessica looked at over 20 homes to find their dream home in Central Texas. But 7 months later and thousands of dollars later, that dream home is in shambles.
It had carpet, probably the original carpet, old tile.
Which is why Jessica and Arlene Benavides bought their home less than a year ago with the condition that they would receive a $4,000 flooring allowance to make the changes they wanted.
And that was mid-February to towards the end of February when we actually started with the stained concrete, when we had hired the contractor to come do our flooring for us.
It was a dream the couple started with his and hers renovations, but that dream didn't take long to become a nightmare.
When we finally came to the house, the day that it was done, the floor was still wet from the sealer that they had put on it, so we couldn't come in the house. And he promised, hey, you'll love it, I swear, it looks great. Obviously he hadn't been here for it because he didn't know what it looked like. When we were able to walk in the house, we said, we're not moving anything in the house because this isn't what we paid for.
The Benavides say not only were their floors dirty and the wrong color, they weren't even level anymore.
The overlay actually changed the level from like the hallway into the kitchen and, you know, into the bathroom. It was like a slope up. And then on top of that, they didn't smooth it. They left it textured.
So they immediately contacted the contractor.
Said that he couldn't be proud of it. And so he completely understood why we felt the way we did. Apologized over and over, said he was sorry, let him make it right, that he wanted to fix it because this is not who he was, this is not the kind of business that he ran.
And the Benavides say with no more money to put into a new floor, they had to trust in this same contractor to try again, this time with tile. But the nightmare continued, in addition to uneven tiles.
I had a tape measure on it and it was about an inch gap.
There are gaps between the wall and flooring throughout the entire house, missing tiles and destroyed baseboards.
In the foyer, you can see all of the baseboards are covered with stain and grout. There's stain on the walls.
All things the company said they would fix, but the contractor never came back.
The guest bathroom, it's still not finished. There's still tons of areas in the house that don't have grout.
And because the Benavides have had no luck getting a hold of the owner of his and hers renovations again, Central Texas News Now also made several attempts, and while we were able to speak to the owner.
Is there a time that you can meet with us to do an on-camera interview to tell us your side of things?
He hasn't returned our calls in 6 days, and now the couple says they're running out of options.
We have filed with the Better Business Bureau. We have filed with the Consumer Protection with the Attorney General in Texas. We have also filed a small claims court to go to small claims court with Bell County.
The Benavides say at this point they've still not heard from the owner of his and hers renovations. They say they'll be looking for an attorney to move forward with in addition to the legal steps they've already taken. We also reached out to the Bell County's constable office, who did confirm there is a pending lawsuit. They say that their deputies have been looking to serve a civil citation for the past month. They say they've attempted to do so 8 times at the address provided on the company's business card. That address is here in Troy, Texas. Central Texas News Now went to that address, and even we were unable to locate the business. Reporting in Troy, Hunter Davis, Central Texas News Now.
Let's go, horse!
A cheer chanted by many today as rescue crews work to save. That's right, you heard it. A horse. Carter Creek in Bryan, Texas is flooding, and the water is continuing to spread, taking many acres with it, including the ones this horse was on.
And I saw the horse in the river, and I was like, okay, well, I want to help whatever I can.
In the way she helped, calling 911, who sent emergency teams to help the horse. But that wasn't the only thing Bailey Goodall and her friend Stephanie Whedon did.
Our daughter called us and she said there's a horse trapped by the bridge, and so we weren't doing anything. He said, let's go and see what we can do.
So Shelly and her husband Mark grabbed a rope and went to the creek. After Mark helped rescuers get the horse out of the water, the Whedon family decided they weren't done helping just yet.
So they're going to bring a trailer and we're going to take her back to our place until the owners are found.
And no, we still don't know who the owners are. We do know that Harvey, a name given to the horse by bystanders, is going to be okay. In Bryan, Hunter Davis, News Channel 25.